Um, Good afternoon. My name is Rich Bisaccia, and before we get started, I'd like to read something to you that I prepared with help from people I care about and that care about me, and then we'll go from there. Before we talk about our team or our game at Denver, I feel it's important to acknowledge the significance of this moment. Coach Gruden gave me a chance to coach in the National Football League. I'll always be appreciative of that. That being said, we all have a responsibility here and have to be held to be accountable to our words and our actions. No one person is bigger than the Raiders Shield. The Raiders have always stood for diversity, inclusion, social justice. It's important to live those ideals and carry them into the future. We cannot change the past, but we can do more to maybe make tomorrow better. That's kind of where I'm at. I can answer some questions for you and go from there.
There's a lot of times when you get a head coaching job, you got time leading up to a first game. Your time is within days. So there's a lot of immediate goals and immediate things that you have to take care of. That said, what your message to the team in terms of that and shifting that focus immediately to your leadership ahead of Sunday's game? What was the message in that regard?
The time thing certainly is it ever a good time, when it happens like this? I think the thing that's unique to us is we have a good team. We're a 3-2 team. It's not like we've gone through some type of a bad cycle and all of a sudden there's been a change and it's the end of the season and the season's over. We have 12 games. We feel like we have a lot of time. We feel like all our goals are still in front of us. And my message to the team was really about the team and them. Their goals are still alive, and we'll see what transpires as we go forward. But I don't think that the time was a big issue, particularly because of the staff that we have. Defense continuity, been together a long time. I've certainly been with Greg a long time on offense. I understand to some degree, what we're doing on offense. Coach Cable's been in this a long time, so we have veteran coaches. And so I think what the time did is it gave us a little bit of a stumbling block in the beginning. We certainly had to go through this as well, and then I think everybody got back to work as usual.
Rich, obviously, Gruden was the play caller. Has a decision been made about Derek Olsen, particularly play calling?
Yeah, Coach Olsen's going to call the plays, and he's been intimate with Coach Gruden and developing the plan for the game. And I've been with Coach Olsen in Tampa. We won 10 games, and he called every play. So I think we'll be status quo that way. And he has a great relationship with Derek. He's been coaching the quarterbacks here for 4 years.
Rich, if you could take us through 3 moments. Friday, when the very first news broke out. Friday, Sunday after the game, and then Tuesday morning or whenever it was that everybody assembled afterward. There had to have been 3 different moods when it came to the players. The initial shock of that first email with the racist remark after a tough loss where it looked like they were flat, and then basically the announcement of John's resignation. Did you notice that, feel that, and how quick did you guys act to grab a hold of that vibe and sort of re-energize the team?
Well, I think, the first one that came out, obviously everyone has opinions that they're all entitled to. Our players had conversations, obviously, at that time with Coach, but we didn't perform well in the game. I don't really like to use different vernacular. We just did not perform well. We did not execute well. We didn't do anything well enough to win the game. And then, to be honest with you, after that, the loss, you go through whatever that is. And we met on Monday. As usual, we had special teams meeting and had the whole team in there. And then we had a team meeting, offense and defense met. And then it wasn't later that we discovered, or like everyone else, kind of what happened. And so at that particular time, my humanistic qualities are really like everybody else, so is our coaches. And it just kind of hit us all. And then after that, it's a little bit of a blur. Next thing you know, a little bit later at night that, I'm talking to the owner. And after that, our biggest concern was to get a hold of our players. All position coaches call the players, and let's kind of tell them what's going on. They've already seen stuff on internet and whatever else that's out there. And so we just wanted to get our voices to them and then tell them we'd see them on Wednesday morning. So, no worries. Go ahead.
I don't expect you to give away secrets, but on the field, how can fans expect a Rich Bisaccia coach
Bisaccia.
team,
Bisaccia.
Bisaccia team to
Bisaccia.
look different?
I just have to wait and see the game, you know. Like I said, we have a good team. We have high expectations. We have high standards. We were 3-0 at one time. We've lost 2 games. So there's a bump in the road. It's not the end of the road. And we're just going to put our heads together and put the players in the best position they can to win a game. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. But
Coach, regardless of how it came about, this is something you've looked for a long time. What does it mean to you personally to be an NFL head coach?
You know, it'd be easy to get emotional about that question. So, yeah, this is certainly an exciting moment. No one wants to be a head coach in this particular situation. No one wants to be put in front of this under these particular circumstances. But it's a incredible opportunity, certainly, not only for me, but all the other coaches that are here to, you know, see what we can do with this adversity, see what we can do with this challenge, see what we can do with the next day, and same thing for our players. So am I excited? I'm certainly excited. Am I beyond excited? You know, I just know that to some degree, we're all football coaches, you know. So when somebody once told me, I asked a coach I worked for a long time ago, I said, Coach, when do you know you're ready to be the head coach? He says, when they give you the hat and whistle and tell you you're the head coach. So I've been doing a lot of different things in this football world for a long time. So with the help of all those other assistants that are up there, we're going to do the best job we can. And we're looking forward to having the opportunity to play ball again.
Coach, when you were a 20-something assistant at Wayne State College, did you think that, 37, 38 years later, you would be an NFL head coach? I mean, how surreal, or is this something that you wanted to do?
I did not think that then. I was not at Wayne State. I mean, in the summers, I was still working at Waldbaum's Egg Factory, so I wasn't thinking about being a head coach. I was thinking about feeding my kid, and, obviously, the longer we stay in this, regardless of the level, we've all like to have this opportunity to be in front of the men, to lead, and that's kind of why we all do it. Most of us have the same type personality. So here it is. However it came to fruition, and I'm going to do the best I can with the men that we're working with to put a really good product on the field and to give our players a chance to be successful. It's really about the players. It's really about the team. I got a 7-year-old granddaughter that can put a bunch of X's and O's on the board. I tell players this all the time, but those are the ones that make the X's and O's come to life. So we'll see if we can put a good plan together and give them a chance.
Rich, there's a professional and friendship that you had with John Gruden that you still have with John Gruden, I'm sure. Any dialogue between you two, and what's the tone of something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. We've been together a long time. We've been friends. I have certainly an affinity for Coach Gruden. He's changed my life, hired me back in 2002. The last night wasn't good for him. It wasn't good for us. And since then, I'm sure he's got to go through and face and deal with the consequences of whatever he has to do. I'm still a friend of Coach Gruden's, but we haven't had any dialogue since that particular night. It was an extremely emotional night for all of us, for whatever the reasons. So, but hopefully at one time we'll be able to visit again. I think he's probably going to leave me alone and wish that we do the best.
Rich, special teams coach, obviously you work with various position groups on both sides of the ball. Just from an on-field perspective, how can that kind of comprehensive knowledge of the roster help you in your job moving forward?
Yeah, great question. I think that the two things that are bigger, we're certainly involved in the personnel part all the time, how the roster works on game day, how the 53-man roster works. And Mike and I have we're in conjunction about the practice squad, which has been a big deal now with 16 players on it. And then time. Special teams coaches are very aware of time because we get little time in practice or a lot of time, or when you get a special teams practice, how it all fits and how it all works. And so I feel like maybe it's a leg up. I've had a chance to be an assistant head coach for a long time in the league under a bunch of really good men, from David Cutcliffe to Norv Turner to Raheem and Coach Grew. And so I think I've been privy to some of those conversations, maybe that I wouldn't have if I was just an assistant. I've been an assistant on offense, coaching the running backs at the same time, doing teams. So I feel like it's helped me prepare me to, again, have conversations with Gus, have conversations with Ole about what the plan's gonna look like and how we're gonna implement it to win one particular game.
Rich, Steve White with the NFL Network.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I gotta talk to this fast. It's Steve White with the NFL Network. In your individual conversations with players, be it the phone or whatever, or at the meeting today, was there anything that was communicated to you, because Mike Mack said you guys really did a lot of listening to these guys, communicated to you that kind of said, okay, these guys are gonna be okay, or communicated to you where you said, okay, we're concerned, maybe we do need to give these guys, some time here, or address something like that? Was there anything that was just communicated that you're like, okay, we gotta do this, we gotta do that?
Well, I think again, coaches and Mike, and we've all had a lot of conversations about it. I addressed some of those things in our meeting, Mike addressed some of those things in his meeting. I think they know, you can ask them, I'm not speaking for our players, but especially, my relationship with players, to some degree, that's kind of what I've built my time on in the National Football League, is the relationship building part of it, trust and how you do that. Maybe that's my style, I don't know. But I think they all feel like they can come up to any coach's office at any time to visit with us, and they do, they will today. And I think a lot of our coaches, we're kind of minglers. A lot of us are in the locker room, a lot of us are in the equipment room and the training room. I know I am. I spend a lot of my time getting around them. For me, it's kind of part of what my role was, and I'm just going to keep it the same way. So I don't know if that answered it, but I'd like to think they feel like they can come and talk to us on a personal level a lot. I have a thing I do with the players about when we grade them or when I grade them on special teams, I grade the jersey number. I don't grade the person. And when they come up to our office, I'm talking to the person. And so I tell them guys like, let's say, Alec Ingold, certainly he's been a really stellar special teams player here for us. He's our special teams captain. It's really hard for me to give Alec Ingold a minus. But jersey number 45, he knows he'll get a double minus in a box with a circle around it and comments next to it. But when he comes up to the office, or when Henry Ruggs or Max or any of those guys come to our offices as coaches, it flips around to, how you doing, what's going on, what do you want to have a conversation about? It can be football, it can be life, it can be things that they'd like to talk about. And I think our staff has done a good job with that.
Let's do two more questions, guys, two more.
On the flip side of that, how much are you going to depend on, like John may have feel that Derek was an extension of the coaching staff for the offense. How much are you gonna depend on the captains, to be an extension of you, given the situation?
Yeah, I think the message I gave to the team today was about the team. If we have a team that cares about each other, it's a tough team to beat. And I think it's a good locker room. I think we have veteran leadership. I think we have a really good group of young guys. Derek Carr is still going to be an extension of the coaching staff on offense. Him and Ole have a tremendous relationship. Don't forget, Ole coached him way back when he was a rookie, and they've kept the relationship going strong before that. And certainly Derek has tremendous command of what we're doing on offense. And it's not like we just got, Greg Olsen off some other team. He's been a part of building this offense and building the vernacular of the offense, just like Coach Cable and Edgar and so on. So, again, I feel like it'll stay the same way. I'm going to rely on a lot of players. I'm going to rely on a lot of coaches. Again, I think collective is better than individual, and hopefully we'll see that come to fruition. But I know you want one, because I saw you put your hand up twice. You have one right there. Oh, you got all the Raider gear on. I got to call you.
Adam, and then Vinny.
All right,
Close
go
out.
ahead.
It was kind of going to be the similar question, where it's like, what's your relationship with Derek Carr, and also, are you really excited to be able to have your opportunity to kind of, there's a lot of chaos surrounding the team, like, are you really excited to really kind of prove naysayers wrong about what the team can do moving forward, going off of a 3-2 record?
Yeah, I think we all have something to prove every day. It's a temporary job in the National Football League for players and for coaches. We only get so many plays. So I think to win the play and then win the day, whether it's in the meeting or on the field or in the walkthrough, and I think we're all excited about an opportunity to respond. We're all looking at each other as how we're going to respond to whatever it may be, right? We have to overcome a touchdown because we got to hurry up now and kick a PAT. We have to overcome a drop pass. We have to overcome when we give up a touchdown. They're really all imposters, right? We win a game. If we last too long in the spoils of victory, it usually gets you. And we lose a game, if you waste more time thinking about the loss, it's going to get you. They're both imposters. Let's count them up at the end. Let's see if we can win the play, then win the day, whether we're meeting on the field, walk through, whatever it is. So that's the mentality we're going to try to take.
Coach, you were talking generally about the relationship with the players and the openness and the communications that you've had. I just wonder if you can address what you feel the mood is. I know everybody's different, everybody has a different emotion, but what do you think the mood of the locker room is right now?
Well, we had we had a good practice. I think the guys ran around. I think we did some things in practice to help them. And so I think the mood is good. My concern or my conversation with them would be, well, what's it going to be 5 days from now? What's it going to be a week from now? I think, players are resilient, right? And they've gone through a tough time. Certainly we all have. But I think we're all trying to come as close together as we possibly can, and then see what product we put on the field. But the consistency of doing that, of the energy of the first day, so to speak, wear off. I just think having open dialogue, having be able to talk about a lot of things, giving them a forum to visit with each other. I do think we have a good locker room. Again, I do think we have an interesting group of veterans that we've gotten some through free agency, some that have been here 4 years, and then I think our young guys are eager and they're good listeners. Trayvon Morig and some of the young guys I think are good listeners, and they're leaning on strong players that we have in the locker room. So we'll see where that goes.
Rich, you've been at this a long time. To get this opportunity, is there anyone past or present that kind of comes to mind from a personal standpoint that you think about when you got to this point now in your career?
Yeah, your parents come to mind. I mean, my dad was the head football coach of the New York Giants. He just never told anybody, And so I got 5 sisters. I got 4 kids, 5 grandkids. So to have an opportunity to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, wow, right? So I guess really that's the only thing I'm going to get choked up about. Holy shit. So, I can't say that. I can't say that. So, I'll look forward to these, and I'll be happy to answer questions as we go along, and appreciate your time, and just always remember that these are men with families. These are men with jobs like the rest of us, and I just think that they're going to do the best they can to get through whatever things that they get through, and it'll be exciting to see how we all respond, right? Players and coaches.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
A lot that's happened the last 5 or 6 days. You're one of the leaders of this team, and some of that falls on your shoulders to help lead the way. What's been your message to your teammates? And get a sense of where everyone else is mentally. I know you can't speak for everybody, but
Yeah.
The tone of the locker room.
Yeah, again, I can't speak for everybody. I'm not in everybody's shoes. A lot of emotions, obviously. Didn't see all of this coming. I don't think any of us did. It just caught us all by surprise, But there will be a day for those feelings. There will be a day and a time to talk about all that, and I'll get into some of it if you have more questions. But from an emotional standpoint, I got a job to do, and that's never changed, no matter who the coach is, no matter who's on the team with me. I have a job to do, and that's to lead these men, especially now. They need a leader more than ever, and my job is to lead them with my actions like I always have, and my voice, just trying to be a strong voice for people, to continually bring people together and continually push people in the right direction. And we're 3-2. We have everything out in front of us that we've wanted from the beginning. It's not going to be with the same room of people, which is hard, but at the same time, nobody cares, and you know how that goes. I think that for me, just the message today was, I just tried to push everything off. I'm sick about it. Have a lot of emotions, angry, sick, upset, mad, frustrated, all those things, empathy, whatever, no one has I don't think there's a book on how to handle all this, actually there is, but I don't think that there's a way for a quarterback to stand up here and answer these type of questions, is what I should say. But for me, my message today was, we have a job to do. So it's Wednesday. If we're still in our feelings, it's too late. We got to move on.
Like the team, we spoke after the game Sunday,
Yes.
prepared to move forward with John Gruden.
Yes.
Coach, did that, or how did that change, how the rest of those emails came out with it?
It was a lot, to handle. I'll say it that way. Like, y'all know me, man. I don't condone that kind of talk. I don't talk that way. My kids, sure as heck, will never talk that way, And, it's hard because I love the man so much. You know what I mean? Like, I have family members that have done things. I've done things that I'm glad that I'm still loved, And I think more than anything, Coach needs people to help him, to love him, in whatever areas, that we can. But at the same time, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, And, I've never seen something like this happen, and so you don't know like the precedent. Like I don't know, is he going to get suspended? Is it a fine? I don't know. I'm not good at figuring those kind of things out. You know what I mean? But when that came out, shortly after, my wife sent it to me. I was getting ready studying and stuff. She sent it to me. I read it, and it's about time I got done reading it. It was over. I'm like, and he resigned, and so you can imagine there's a lot going on in my head. And again, I'll probably get more into it someday about everything that went down for me. But again, y'all know I got a job to do, and it wasn't his fault that we didn't play well on the field. We as players the last 2 weeks, we haven't been good enough. So that's not on him, that's on us. We got to play better this week and get a win, especially against a good defense.
Derek, I'd like to ask you an on-field question. You stood there this summer and talked about, hey, I got a boss, I can't go against John. Without him here,
Yeah.
are you looking forward to maybe being able to take this team on the attack a little bit more, maybe use pass to set up run, just how it can be different on the field?
Yeah. I think we're gonna wing tee, triple option football, ball control. Just try and run the quarterback as much as we can in the middle. I think there are things set in place with our offense. I've been with Ole. My rookie year, he called plays. I've heard his voice, through the headset. I know how he calls a game. I know how he thinks. We're in the same room. Every conversation I had with Coach Gruden, I had with Ole, this whole time. And so, us three and now Johnny Moe, we were all together all the time. And so it's not going to be anything crazy new, but there are philosophies that some people have. So I don't want to give Ole's secrets away. But could things be different? Yes. Could things be similar? Yes, absolutely. But if Denver's listening, we're probably just going to run the ball the whole time.
Hey, Derek, real quick, and I got exactly what you were saying when you were telling your teammates, hey, if we're still in our feelings, it's too late, we gotta press the football.
Yes.
On a personal issue, Carl asked if Mike Mayock could say that Carl asked for a personal day, like
Oh.
he needs some time down, but he clearly is still in his feelings.
Oh, yeah.
When you
Yeah.
have a situation like that as a leader,
Yeah.
there are gonna be some individuals going through some things.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you guys handling that, knowing that he's going through a little something that maybe some of you
Yeah.
guys aren't?
Yeah, and you know how I meant that too.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
I got exactly what you're.
For that, I just found out about that. We're not in the same meeting room. You know what I mean? If Darren Waller's not in the room, like I'm gonna notice he sits next to me. Whenever a defensive guy isn't here or is hurt, like I find out usually on Thursday or Friday, like, oh man, you all right? That kind of thing. Because especially even when we're practicing, when the defense is up, I'm throwing routes with my receivers. Like I'm not in it like that. And so.
And I got what you meant. I mean,
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Thank you. I wanted to make that clear, for sure. But for Carl, from day one, I told Carl I love him, and he knows I got his back. So, if anyone won't talk to him, if you want to mess with him, Carl knows that I have his back. That's for sure. And with that kind of stuff, I'll let Carl handle all that with the teammates and all that kind of stuff. For me, he has – I think Mr. Mayock said, like, he's a population of, one, really. Like he, has every right to feel the way he wants to feel. Just like all of our teammates have every right to feel however they want to feel. That was a message for everyone today, really. But at the same time, with the mindset of we have a game to play and we have to move on, as hard as it is.
For 4 years now, you've been asked every offseason about your relationship with John. And
Yes.
you kept saying the trust is better. We're getting closer and closer, whether it's on or off the field. It must be very surreal for you now. I mean, in an instant, it's over. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because so much was made about your relationship.
Yes, I think if I'm honest, that's the hardest part for me. And again, there will be a time for those feelings to come out. Like I said, there's sad feelings, there's anger. I'm human. You know, I've done my best every year dealing with whatever, you know what, we have to deal with, you know. And, you know, it is what it is. But I promise you, someday we can talk about that. I'm trying my best personally, honestly, just to make my mind focused on football, as hard as it is. And I hope that makes sense. And I'm trying to be respectful and answer it the best I can for you. But personally, I have to keep my mind as focused as I can, or else I'll start drifting and start feeling some type of way. You know what I mean?
To that point, Derek, is it almost impossible to grasp that you have this unprecedented storm of adversity of all these different things, and yet your team is good? Like,
Yes.
you have a playoff caliber team.
Yes.
That's two things that usually don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
How are you grasping that?
Well, I've been in this situation, I think it's my 5th head coach in 8 years. And so I do know the feelings of when it's a good football team and when it's not, you know. And the feelings of when it's not is kind of like you get a lot of guys that are just coming to work, you know, just counting the days kind of a thing, right? Whereas this team, the way we came in today, everything's still out there for us. You know, we're a good football team. You know, we believe that. You know, we need to play better, but we still believe that we can compete with anybody. You know what I mean? And so it's just a weird time. I think that's the easiest way to say it. It's a weird time, but I know a little bit about compartmentalizing some things. You know, my senior year, my son was having surgeries where doctors were saying he might not make it, and I still had to play football games. You know, like, I don't wish that for anybody. But for whatever reason, I've just had to go through some of those things, and this is one of those things where you just got to be able to separate the two, and it's weird and it's hard, and I don't know how. I thank the Lord that I can do it, you know, because I want to feel some type of way, you know, but we are a good football team, and we do still have everything out in front of us, you know what I mean? And, you know, I think that I'm just trying to focus on what is good, you know, and what is good for our football team is thinking about those things. And practice was great. It's easier to do, honestly, when you're on the field, you know. It's easier to do when you're in the meetings because that's what you're focused on, that's where your mind is at. The hard part is when you're outside of that, not letting your mind wander.
Having
Two more, guys, two more. Go Vinny and then Adam.
Having gone through it the way you have, like you said, when you're walking around here and out on the field and in meeting rooms, are you hearing what you want to hear and seeing what you want to see from your teammates to let you know that, all right, this is going to be all right, we're going to be able to deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely focused on football. You know, our conversation is still happening. Absolutely, you know. I'm another part of my job as a leader here is making sure everybody is okay, you know. And I got to check on guys if I see a certain look on their face, you know, make sure they're all right. You know, how do you feel about everything? You all right? Hey, I got your back, man, whatever you need. You know, 3 a.m., you don't feel, man, call me, you know, I'll be there. My kids are probably up anyway. Well, at least one of the 7, you know, and I'm there for you. And so there are those conversations, but as a whole, the focus is on winning. You know, we had great meetings. We had great practice, you know, full of energy. Competition was great. That part was good. But, you know, when you walk around, you sit in the mailroom, it's hard not to. This is the biggest story in sports right now, you know, honestly. You know, it's, you know, and that's what we talk about. You know, you turn the TV on, that's what's on, you know. And you do your best to, you know, stay focused when it's time to focus and all those kind of things. But, again, I'm just sad. I'm sad for the people that were hurt. I'm sad for Coach. I'm sad for our organization. I'm sad for our fans. You know, there's a lot of those feelings. But at the same time, when it's football time, I thought we were really good. I am hearing and seeing the things that you want to hear when it is football time.
You talked about when you're on the field, it's easier to get away from it, to not be, you know, part of the story. But are there times on the field, like maybe you make a mistake or something at practice today, and you're like, wait, Gruden wasn't here to yell at me, or Gruden wasn't here to say that? I mean, are there times where you're going to kind of like, oh wait, where is he? Is that going to happen?
There was definitely, thankfully there was no not too many mistakes today. There's no mistakes today. I don't want to say no mistakes. There's always something, but
Good play, you don't hear him.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. I had a feeling of when I hit the field, I was waiting for him to, click in the headset and start talking to me, make a joke, make me laugh, get me going, fire me up. And, it was Ole's voice today. And again, thankfully, that's something I'm used to. Thankfully, it's something I've heard before. Don't get me wrong. I love the man, right? And I hate, you hate the sin, like for me, you hate for anybody. No one's perfect. If we just started opening up everybody's private emails and texts, people would start sweating a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully not too many, but maybe that's what they should do for all coaches and GMs and owners from now on is open up. You got to open up everything, see what happens. But you hate the action. You hate it. You're not supposed to like it. But you love the person, and I love the person. I've grown to love him so much. We spent so much time together. We've been through so many battles. We've been through so many things together. He's always had my back. He's always been there for me. And I love his family. I love his wife. I love his kids. And I think that's why it's hard. Because he's not around. It's over. He's not going to be around. And that's the hard part. That for me as a human being is the hardest part. As a football player, like I said, I got a job to do, regardless of what's going on. It was different with him not out there, but long story short, man, you feel for everybody involved. But I will always be someone, no matter who does what, I'm going to love you, and if that's wrong, then I'm okay being wrong. I'm going to try and build people up no matter what. That doesn't make what they did right, but I'm always going to be there to try and be there on the next step, on the other side, to try and lift them back up and love them up again.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All truth on the team, but as a black player, when you initially saw those emails from Friday, kind of the content of them, what was kind of your reaction and how have you processed that since then with everything that's came out since then?
Yeah, with the first email, there was a hint of racial lining in it. You look back at all the old art from kind of back in the day, and those symbols. It's like, yeah, it's there, and it's disappointing. But I'm somebody that comes from the space of I want to offer somebody grace and allow them to, learn from what they may have done, and that's that's what I'm trying to do right now for Coach, because I know a lot of people may want to cancel him, but that, and I understand that what he said was inexcusable, but at the same time, like, where do we offer grace for him to learn and grow, and then be able to be in the circle that he was with those people that he was emailing with, and be able to say, that's not right, and be able to say from his experience, like, I had to learn, and so now I can help these people. So those are some of the things that are going through my mind.
Darren, you guys have dealt with a lot the last 6 or 7 days. But there's a job at hand as well, and professional athletes, you guys have to do that. How tough is that, and do you feel like talking to your teammates, seeing them out on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, that you're in a good place to move forward in that regard?
Yeah, it is tough. Over these past couple of days, like I said, I have a lot of emotions going through all this, and then it's like, yeah, I got to prepare for an opponent who happens to have a really talented defense. So it's like, yeah, it is a lot on our plate, but guys are speaking out and recognizing, like, it's okay to be a little stressed. It's okay to be like, man, like, what is this? Because it's not normal. It's not, something that happens every day. So I feel like guys did come in today with good heads on their shoulders. Like, some guys a little shocked, some guys a little, like, bothered by the uncertainty. But once we were able to have that meeting this morning and guys were able to speak, I feel like guys were able to go into meetings and practice with a pretty good attitude.
Darren, not asking for specifics, but how much are you excited on the field? There's gonna be some new wrinkles, get a new little bit of a look, maybe a freshening up.
I'm excited to move forward with who we got. I believe in Ole. I believe that he, gives us a chance to win. I believe that he believes in Derek and his ability. They're gonna, make things a little more simple for guys, and we're just gonna go out there and play and have fun. It's all this stuff right now can be a little cloudy, but it's good to be able to just get back into a routine of doing things that we know and that we love. So we believe in who's leading us right now, and Rich and Oli, and we believe in the guys standing next to us.
You recently, on your podcast, you had Carl on and talked about his journey to this point. Mayock told us that he took a personal day-to-day. How have you all supported him and his teammates, given some of the nature of comments that came?
I support that 100%. He's pretty much a lone wolf when it comes to that. Nobody should be able to tell him how to feel. Nobody should be able to tell him how to grieve, and he deserves to take time for himself because, that's a lot to process. Somebody that you've been invested in and battling with, and you come out and there's a quote that says something like what was said. It's like, I can't imagine what he must be feeling, and I respect him wanting to take his space and be able to come back clear-headed.
Darren, with that being said, and much respect to that, you touched earlier on the first initial email. And that initial email, was racist toward black people. It took homophobic and misogynistic emails to initiate him resigning. And you talked about forgiveness. Is there a sense of bothersome, though, that that the first one was asked for forgiveness and then it was something else that caused him to resign, or whether he was forced out, whatever? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I myself, I don't really take it that personally. He came into the room and it explained his thinking behind it, and I was not okay with okay, this is gone. I was still a little bit bothered by it, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I understand how he may have took what he was trying to say or communicate a little too far. But I'm not necessarily bothered that I don't think the racism was not enough or racism is being overlooked per se. I just feel like in that moment, I guess a lot of people didn't know what to do. It's okay, we got a game in a couple days. What do we do here? And so I don't really have an answer to that, but yeah, it's just a lot to process.
Darren, Mike Mayock said that some of the most powerful and eloquent things that came out of you guys' meeting today were from the captains of the team. What were some of the messages you guys, shared with everyone? And, is that you guys kind of taking ownership of the situation and making sure everyone's in the right place?
Some of the message that was shared, I spoke a little bit. I was just saying that in times of uncertainty, that has been where, a lot of growth has happened for me in my life, because it makes you focus on the simplest things of whatever the process is you're involved in, because you don't know the results, you don't know what the end's going to look like, you don't know how people that are stepping into new roles are going to perform, but what you can control is going forward and making sure that every step that you take on the field in drills and periods and practices are where they should be. The ways you interact with people, to listen to them, show them some compassion, all those things carry over. And you can just control the things that you can control. That's what I like to preach, because throughout my journey, there's a lot of things that could have derailed my mind because I didn't know what was going on or what my career was going to look like. But I just try to communicate that to them and know that if we treat people with respect, love on them, and we put forth our best effort on the field, then everything else will take care of itself because we feel like we have a good group.
Okay, thank you, Darren.
Earlier on your Twitter and your Instagram, you said adversity introduces a man to himself. Can you just go into detail about what that quote means to you and what that quote means to your team right now?
I think when adversity hits, it really just brings out everyone's true colors. Obviously, this team is no stranger to adversity. I've dealt with it every year I've been here, and this is a time everybody's got to come together. I know my teammates, we've talked, and we've been in this together for years now. So I know we got new guys, we got guys that have been here, and we just all got to bond together in a hard time like this.
Max, you guys have all said that this locker room and team is as tight as you've ever been around. Has that been tested this week, and or is that something that could help this team move forward on the field this year?
Sorry, can you ask that again? I didn't hear
Yeah,
it.
when you guys talk about how tight this team is and the locker room has been, has that close bond been tested this week, or is it something that's gonna benefit you on the football field this year going forward?
Yeah, I feel like this group is super tight knit. We've said that since the off season. Obviously, it's been a crazy week to say the least, but we still have the same standard and same mission. We've all put in so much work. I know these guys have been working since the season ended last year, so no matter what happens, we're still, the mission, all that stays the same. For me, I know personally, I'm worried about the Broncos. I know all my teammates, this defensive line, everyone's locked in on trying to, get another win. That's what we're focused on. So, there's a lot of craziness going on, but we just got to still, lock in on our mission. We put way too much damn work into this job. We love what we do, and, no matter what happens, we got to show up and produce on Sundays.
Max, with the offense and John resigning, Ole's gonna take over, you have Rich taking over the entire team. The defense has somewhat been the stalwart in the strong point. Does it feel as if that specifically this game, the defense is needed more than ever right now to really stand up and sort of be the backbone?
Yeah, I think, from a D-line perspective, we want to take on, that this whole offseason we've talked about it, like being the alphas on the team, leading the charge. And, we got a ton of great guys on this team, but, I feel like up front, it starts with us, disrupting the game as much as we possibly can. So obviously, with all the circumstances and things of that nature, we take it on, our backs. I know I'm a guy that, likes to take on responsibility, and I feel like guys like Quentin and Jonathan Hankins and Yannick and all these guys, we take it personal. So no matter what's going on, we feel like we have a responsibility to show up and be the best D-line in the league. So we're going to try to do that every single time we step on the field.
For special teams, you obviously worked with Rich. How would you describe him as a coach, just from what you understand?
Rich, I've had a special relationship with him since I've gotten here. He's one of the greatest men I know. He's a great leader. Guys love being around him. The dude has been nothing but a positive influence in my life. So when they said, he was going to be our new head coach, it brought a smile to my face, even though, I love Coach Gruden and what he's done for us. But, Rich has been awesome, ever since I've been here, and that's somebody who I trust. So I'm really looking forward to, having him as a leader on this team.
Max, what kind of words did you offer to the team being a captain, trying to help them get through this and stay focused?
Yeah, being a leader on this team, these last 48 hours have been super tough because I know personally I've been affected. It's been hard with so much going on, but I just got to do my best, to keep everybody locked in, even though it's easy to read into all the articles and, go in that rabbit hole. You got to stay focused. It's not like this is happening at the end of the season or something. We got 12 games left. We still have the same mission and same standard every single day. So I know it's not easy, but this is a part of it. Like I said, adversity, really is the key to everything. We'll see who, makes it through. At the end of the day, you got to be strong to survive in this league. And that's something I want to carry myself with, and I know everybody else does too.
Max, there's been basically 3 phases to this. There was Friday's emails, there was the game itself, and then Monday with everything that came. How refreshing in a sense was it today to just get on the field finally and sort of, I don't know if you could say flush everything that happened, but just really officially look toward the Broncos?
Yeah, every time I step on the field, I feel like it's a relief. For me, football has always been that release that I've been looking for my whole life. So it's something that I look forward to no matter what the circumstances are. Obviously, it's been a tough week. But like I said, adversity, really it determines who's the strongest people out on the field, and that's something I want to set for, an example for my teammates. No matter how hard the situation is, I'm always be there for my teammates and try to lead by example.
One member of the defensive line room, what we were told Carl Nassib took a personal day today, totally understandable with everything that's going through, but how do you guys support him, and have you been in contact with him at all?
Yeah, Carl's been great ever since he's been here. Obviously, things are going fast. So we kind of just found out, you know, obviously today as well. So, you know, we were locked in, you know, on practice, and you know, we got full support, you know, for Carl.
Anything more, guys? Okay, thank you, Max. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.